different. We've got a podcast to look at. And it's not just any podcast. This podcast is hosted by HULK and Thanos.
Oh, wow. Hulk and Thanos having a podcast. What could they possibly be talking about?
I know, right? So get this. They're talking about the multiverse.
Wow. I mean, I guess it makes sense in a way. They're fictional characters known for these, like, epic battles and showdowns and stuff. So it's kind of fitting that they'd be interested in a concept that's puzzled, like, physicists and philosophers for, I don't know, decades.
Yeah, it really shows how, like, captivating this whole multiverse idea is.
Definitely.
So, I think most people listening probably already know what the multiverse is. But
of course.
just in case anyone needs, like, a quick refresher, the multiverse is the idea that our universe, like the one we know and love, is just one of many, maybe even infinite.
Yeah, like a whole bunch of universes all existing at the same time.
Exactly. And this idea, this concept, it actually comes from theoretical physics, and it leads to some pretty mind-bending possibilities.
Definitely. And from what I've heard about Hulk, I'm guessing he dives right into those possibilities with his, typical enthusiasm.
Oh, yeah. So Thanos, he's kind of laying out the basics, like every choice, every single decision we make spawns a new reality.
Okay.
So that means there could be tons and tons of versions of ourselves out there. Like each one of them is the product of different choices, different paths.
I see. So like a version of me that decided to become a musician instead of a physicist.
Exactly. Yeah. Or a version of me who actually, took those karate lessons I always talked about.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one. So wait, if I'm getting this right, Thanos is basically saying that there are infinite Hulks and Thanoses out there. Like running around, maybe even teaming up.
Or fighting each other? Yeah, that's exactly what he's saying. And it gets even more interesting. He starts talking about how some of these alternate selves could be allies, right? But some of them could also be enemies. Like, imagine that. Meeting another you, and they're your biggest rival.
Whoa. Yeah, that's a pretty wild thought. I mean, it really makes you think about the potential for, like, both conflict and collaboration in a multiverse.
Totally. Like, if you ran into another version of yourself, would you be friends? Rivals? Something in between? It's a tough question.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating question. And, it makes you think about, like, identity, right? What makes us who we are? Yeah. If there are all these other versions of ourselves out there making different choices, does that change who we are in this reality? It's almost like it diminishes our own choices, doesn't it?
I see what you mean. It's like, if every choice creates a new universe, does that mean our actions here don't really matter? It's almost like we're just playing out a script, right?
Yeah. And Thanos, he actually uses a really interesting example. He talks about a Thanos who, get this, chose compassion over power. Can you imagine? Like, that's a completely different Thanos than the one we know. And it makes you think about how different the universe would be if that Thanos had been the one we encountered.
Yeah. And that example kind of brings up the whole free will versus determinism thing.
Right. Like, do we actually have control over our choices, or is everything already predetermined? And if there are infinite versions of ourselves making every possible choice, does that mean our choices in this reality are, already set in stone? It's a question philosophers have been debating for ages.
It is. And the multiverse just throws a whole other wrench into the works.
It really does. But you know what else is fascinating about this whole multiverse concept?
What's that?
It can be a really powerful tool for self-reflection.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Well, think about it. Just like there might be all these different versions of ourselves in other realities, we also have, like, different versions of ourselves inside us.
Right.
We're all capable of good and bad. We all have strengths and weaknesses.
Okay, I'm starting to see what you're saying. So you're saying exploring the multiverse isn't just about, like, imagining all these crazy alternate realities. It's also about taking a look inward and understanding ourselves better.
Exactly. It's like, what choices have we made that have shaped who we are today? And what parts of ourselves do we want to cultivate? Or maybe even challenge? The multiverse, in a way, lets us explore all these different parts of ourselves.
I love that. It's like holding up a mirror to ourselves, seeing all our potential, all the different paths we could have taken.
Exactly.
So to recap, this whole multiverse thing, it starts in theoretical physics, but it really sparks our imagination.